to this 2-day workshop, coaching for performance, that will be basically facilitated by YK, Mr. YK Leong. Right? YK, yeah, just call him YK, alright? Alright, so YK is actually a fitness coach. Okay, so we also have Barry at the back of the room. So he will be co-facilitating. Okay, so I think introduction, do you need an introduction to them? For them or them? No?
Oh, me introducing myself to them?
Later,
yeah.
Later you get to know them.
Yes. Yes.
Alright. Okay, so I hope that you guys basically find this upcoming 2-day session useful for you. Because I think why we particularly still insist to push on this session despite the many rounds of postponement and etc. Because I think lately, also thanks to Mr. Ngan for showing the way. Like, but a lot of us, among the leaders, we find that coaching technique is actually very useful. Especially for all of you in this room here, you are actually going to be using these techniques. When dealing with your team members, etc. So yeah, I think I will leave it to the expert YK to carry on the session today. Right, so over to you. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, all right. If you guys need anything, you can just reach me out. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Wow, so much energy. Awesome. We want to use more energy. So we're going to start with an energizer. And then after that, I'll introduce myself. Barry will introduce himself. And then after that, the program, next 2 days program, a big picture. And then we start. Is that okay? Yeah. Alright. So you will notice that there is a piece of paper at the edge of your table, like this here. Alright. So would each of you take one each? So take one. Alright, can I assume that all of you know each other very well?
Yeah.
Awesome. So everyone stand up. And help your colleague put the piece of paper on his or her back. Alright, since you know each other very well, your feedback is going to be very authentic and genuine. So you will go around and catch hold of each of your colleagues and write down one positive trait you notice in them. Alright, one quality or trait that you notice in them. And each of you should end up around about 16, if you have 16 people in this room. So go around and write. Positive traits for
That's why I'm taking the
Why everyone
two of my senior staff resigned. So my boss, MD, called me up and said that YK, you need to sharpen your leadership skill. And at that time, it was in the 90s. Internet is very slow, but I managed to connect a gentleman called Thomas Leonard in the US. We call him the father of coaching because he actually started the coaching movement. And at that time, he was sharing a lot of coaching tips freely. And I picked up some of those things and tried to change my conversation with my team members. And to my surprise, everything else changed. So that motivated me to learn more. So I used coaching for 4 years with the honor group before I came out and became a professional coach. I became a professional coach in the year 1999. So that's how I got my coaching started, not out of passion, but out of necessity. And what else can I share? So I have written 2 books. The Green Book is my second book. If you cannot sleep, just read few chapters. Personal side, married with a Nyonya wife. How many of you from Lanka? No? So my wife is a Nyonya. I have 2 children, 29 and 27. Also part of my family are 2 dogs. An old dog, 14 years old, Labrador, and a old beagle, about 10 years old. Adopted a cat about a year ago. Tried to coach them to be friends with each other, not successful. Yeah, so that's my family. I've got an uninvited guest up my roof, a family of Busan. What's that? And a colony of bees. My hope of getting those bees was to pollinate some of my fruiting plants, but they decided to go very far away to get that nectar, so I end up having to pollinate myself a big bee here. So that's me. Any questions before I pass to Barry? Okay.
Morning. You can call me Barry. My Chinese name is a bit mouthful. Yang Guang. Yeah. So very nice name. Yang Guang, Piao Yang De Yang Guang. So it's spreading line. Yeah. So, but people find it difficult to pronounce, especially in the MNC world. And they say, okay, let's adopt a simple one. So, Barry. My working career has been very interesting. When I left school, I tried accounting. That's when I discovered that I'm not good with numbers under pressure. I was trying to do costing and I can never get it balanced. And my senior was very angry with me. Yeah. Then I was a bit more adventurous. So when I was in my Form 5 at the time, I applied to join the Northern Lines or shipping company. And then I was told you could finish Form 6 first. Yeah. Then when I finished Form 6, I wrote in. I didn't get a reply. So after a while, I was, I tried again. I wrote directly to the hiring manager. His name is William Tay. And I wrote to him. I said, I wrote in. I applied to you in Form 5. Now in Form 6, I wrote. I didn't get a reply. I said, I'm really interested. And that's when I got into the company, the shipping company. I was a deck cadet. That's because I wanted to find a cost-effective way to travel and see the world. Yeah. Then 2 years after that, I discovered that's not what I want. It's taking me away from my family time and all that. Then I came back and I was in sales in pharma. So a long stretch in pharma for about close to 19 years, all in a stretch from sales to marketing, product management, training, human resources, regional HR. Yeah. Then from pharma, I got retrenched due to restructuring. I took the company through restructuring. After that, I got retrenched. Yeah. And I was in the hotel industry, and then a short stint in the direct selling HR as well. So I was many years in HR, human resources, until my last job. So in pharma and hotel, and then in IT services. IT services, I pivot from HR into consulting, and that's when I discovered coaching. So we brought in YK to train us on the coaching program. So this program was very different from other trainers that we have experienced. And the biggest shift for me, what convinced me that coaching worked was we went through a transformation. And so we got a lot of resistance from the managers because it's an operational efficiency program, Lean Sigma and so on. So there are numbers to be delivered. HQ has got a number, the regional HQ boss drives it down through the consultants. And when people hear that, they all get very worried. And people were hiding numbers and not cooperating. And so that's when we came in, we basically buddy with them, and then we start to coach the managers. And that's why so we had a few of us, we paired, and then we had a coaching conversation. And then when the people we spoke to, the managers, start to realize that they are part of the solution. They can either be part of the solution or part of the problem. When their mind shifted, they become creative, right? So instead of looking at the efficiency as just cutting head counts, which is what a lot of people feel, they start to become very creative. And what happens was, the first group that when we went in, the meeting they had with the boss was, they were hiding numbers. The boss said, your numbers are far beyond my expectation. I don't care, I want this number. Everybody walked out, all feeling very upset. And then they make excuses not to meet the consultants to move forward. But we still complete that eventually. The next batch, when they go in and see the manager, when they gave the numbers, the manager had to lean forward and say, are you sure you can deliver the number? So it was such a big shift. Acceptance was there. Some of the things we introduced in the company, like the performance whiteboard, it's still being practiced, on their own. So that convinced me when you help people to be able to see differently and able to shift the mindset of things, change happens, and it's where you can help people to grow. And so I was convinced. So in May 2021, when I reaching my 6 months before May 2021, before reaching my retirement age, I was asked this question, so Barry, what are you going to do after you retire? I thought about it for a while. A lot of my time, I find there's a lot of joy in helping people find a way forward, creating positive turning points. So that comes from realizing when I do 7 habits training, being insights facility, all those activities where I help people to shift and change, I get very energized. Right. Then I said, coaching does the same thing as well. So I decided to say, okay, 45 years of working in corporate life is enough. I want to do something that I'm passionate about. And so then I started to be more active as a coach on my own. Started to build my coaching career outside. And of course, being a student and cohort of YK, and I actively participated. So YK noticed me, invited me to be a part of the team to co-facilitate some of the programs, which I'm very grateful for. And every time I run sessions like this, even though sometimes it's very tiring, but it's very fulfilling because I'm living my mission of creating positive turning points for people. Every time I do this, every time I coach, it's very fulfilling journey. Yeah. On the personal side, married, 2 kids, all adults already. Yeah. My daughter is in Japan, my son is here. And I also adopted a cat. Maybe adopted me because came into the house and then said no. Yeah. Hobbies, I enjoy photography, so I've not written a book, but I produce photo books, and and I produce a set of photo cards which is used for reflective coaching. I produce it just specifically to help coaches use it as reference for coaching. So this is some of my work. I've done some public exhibitions before with photography. I will share this morning. My other hobby is trying out different coffee. I like to do a V60, which is a pour-over coffee, to try and see if I can catch the final notes of the coffee. So those are the topics. Any questions?
Thank you, Barry. Okay, so the program proper, 2 days program here, and day 1, the agenda is there. You will notice that you have your handouts and your book there. The book is for your reading pleasure. It has a lot of tools, techniques if you would coach someone and you are stuck. The green book will give you ideas on how to handle them. We will make use of the handout more in the next 2 days. You will notice that there are no answers on the handout. That's because we believe your experience in this room is more than a couple of pages in the book. So you will notice that there are flip charts on your beside your table. So we will have discussions, we will have sharing, and we will have practice next 2 days. Timing wise, we will take the first break around 10:30 to 11, depending on how fast we go. And then lunch around 12:30 to 1. Is that okay for you all, lunch? Great. And then second break about 3:30, plus minus 15 minutes. And then we should finish by about 5:15. Sounds okay? Any protests? Not yet. I like that. You need to leave a little bit early, that's fine. Okay. That's today and tomorrow or tomorrow? Both. What time?
1:30.
Okay. All right. Okay, great. So, and that's it. Anything else? So, there's nothing else. Any questions pertaining to the structure of how we're going to run the program? No? We're going to start with 5 minutes brainstorming of your expectations. What do you want to take away in these 2 days that will be worth your time? So go to your flip charts there and write down your expectations. We will revisit this at the end of tomorrow. Yeah, so go ahead and write down. Check it.
Okay lah. Expectation.
The younger you go,
How to wait for this, right? Oh, it was a good listener, right?
that's why my next one is coaching.
Here's what I'm asking.
I need to be able to apply it to myself.
Yep.
Before I can
我從來沒有成過一次。
myself.
是不是有人很自比你美？
不可能啊，我这很卡顿啊。你整齐不齐？
没有。So coaching effectively. Essentially looking for
We'll pause in 1 minute. You can add on any law.
things like that.
我是不美啊。
椰子美文的，信我。
Always a one-way thing.
Coach,
Yeah.
team member, group success.
Right? Would you finish the last sentence?
如果你有跟 young generation 有 gap，有啊。
虽然我跟他们很 close 啊，但是还是很 gap 啊。
Actually, both of us are like considered
还要有东西跟你要。
just this sort of relates to this being able to get feedback from the
Alright, so
after that,
let's listen to some of your expectations. Who wants to share your list? Who wants to share your list? We'll run through and understand what each group wants to take away. Alright, you got the hand. By the way, kind of thing.
Yeah, go through the points here. So the first is better way. I will read your will use my words. Better way to coach or inspire. So it's both upwards as well as sideways. So that's one. And managing bosses, managing the team as well.
Yes.
Improve productivity. How to also help the team to have a mindset shift. Self-coach, which is also very close to self-reflecting, where we are. How to make coaching more meaningful to the team.
Excellent. Thank you. Next group, you want to go? Alright.
The first 2 pointers are written by my 2 gentlemen from the team. Very straightforward one. Be able to start coaching the team and to have better communication with the team. Yeah, we all know that. Yeah, if you can go there, I can go there. Okay, so this one is difference between coaching and mentoring, and whether or not coaching is for everybody, whether it's suitable for everyone. And this one my email right one, very long one, this girl. Besides that work and the team, it is also able to train ourselves and apply to personal use. Yeah. And then last one, my culture very deep. To coach without personal interest, then I asked her what does it mean. So she mentioned that sometimes during coaching, right, how to stay neutral without being judgmental. After people tell you about their stories, right?
Very advanced. Awesome. Okay, and who wants to go?
All boys team.
So it's not in particular order, essentially what we're saying is that we want to find out whether how do we coach effectively, what are the techniques, how do we get feedback, what's the and essentially that translates to how do we coach across different levels, generation, grades, and finally how do we apply it on a personal level. Because essentially we have to take it and make it our own.
Right. Awesome. Thank you. And
So over here, we are hoping, the team here actually hoping to learn how to coach a young generation, right? Because with a different mindset, right? Knowing how they think, the way of communication has to be tailored to a different kind of, receiver. So the new inspiration to coach effectively. Same go to the third is that how to conduct an effective conversation. And how to coach team member to succeed altogether. And lastly is that knowing every leader comes from different background, different mindset. So through the conversation of coaching, how to evaluate leaders' quality through coaching. Because coaching is I don't know. This is my expectation as I'm coming in with my own mindset. So it's a two-way thing. Sometimes our aim is to ensure the teammate actually progress and succeed. But also, I don't know, are we able to evaluate how they progress or evaluate how this person perform? I don't know. Yeah.
all right. So in other words, how do I evaluate the effectiveness of the coaching and their progress?
Yeah. Okay.
Great. Awesome. I'm surprised no one says how do I learn how to coach my children? How many of you have children? Okay. Well, yes. In fact, that was one of the things that I found most valuable in my life, using that skill to coach my children.
I was thinking it this morning.
Yeah.
Well, it will get something.
Yeah, you should ask questions on that. Yeah.
I get so personal interest.
Okay. So by the end of tomorrow, maybe 30 minutes, we'll stop 30 minutes earlier, we'll revisit this and we'll go deeper in those areas we felt that we have not gone deep enough. Is that okay? Wonderful. So let's start. The first thing that we need to differentiate is between these four helping skills. Alright? So we help people learn, grow, and develop through teaching, coaching, mentoring, and counseling. There are no answers in your book, unfortunately. So close your book. Alright, and use the knowledge that you have gained, your understanding that you have, right? So discuss within your group and write down what is the difference between these four modalities in helping people. Write it on a flip chart. 10 minutes for this exercise. What are the differences? Can I pause you for a while? Okay, can I pause you for a while? I noticed that there are three gentlemen there. There's no roles. Anyone wants to join that group to
I was about to go already. Women's like that one.
volunteer anyone? Just join.
Actually.
Alright. Give a big hand.
The sentimental type of way to balance.
Coaching. Mentoring dan coaching.因为我也是这样的 ，OK。我也是 OK。
subject expert.
It's for specific uses and marketing subject. Yeah, so imparting knowledge. Yeah.
One way. Oh, okay. Ngam. Mentoring? Mentoring?
So the person who imparts knowledge
What and halfway?
normally
I say
I say you do.
知道我我准备那个，我只要插去，我就在给你看。
可以。
So you can explain to the person.
mentoring 是 I say you do. Mentoring 是 I say you do. 是 I say you do. Mentoring is know into a people. Mentoring is I don't know my understanding is that it goes to a people.
Okay, so
Because teaching 我讲了你听，你未必会去做啊。
哦，OK。
Sort of like deeper influencing.
Mentor 比较 close 嘛，completely
有 HRDC 这个有他底下
看你讲，换你讲。
这样你这样讲跟 coaching 吗
coaching 啊？
这个也是对，这个对呀，有没有对？我问你问题了，但是你问我
sorry 啊。
My father is son, mother is daughter.
Growing mind 啦。
我去快啲講。
你有冇培訓佢？
你都培訓。
他有時會打咯，有打你啲咁樣。
哦，OK。Because I say you do. I say.
You do or you do up to you.
Listening, supporting.
Partial influencing. Partial. Coaching one way actually. Actually say actually is also one way but
哎，这个其实也是弯位的，是我弯位，不是另对方的弯位。没有啦，其实不没啦。哎，有会，但是什么位？
它是不微的。
啊，不位的。
我们应该讲不微，
不位吧，弯位。太两个啊，trigger。哦，对，you say you do. Trigger 那个 key point trigger，你跟你。
因为一个 coach 的机器嘛，是不是？一个 coach 的机器嘛。
Basically, a lot of this is all one way. As you transpire down, right, to think the other way.
Inspired. Discover. Your potential.这个是paper 写多了，这个。每次都这样吗？
搞完嘛，你学会啊
？Commercial potential.
Chef eating
Alright, finish your last sentence.
Yeah.
The basics,
Everybody should know it.
Oh, I feel you feel.
Empathy.
Sharing more.
Empathy.
Very simple thing that's I feel you feel.
Okay, so who wants to share your thoughts? Alright, give them a hand. And you can challenge them if you want.
Okay.
Okay, to our understanding at this point of time, maybe.
I don't
Okay, first one is actually teaching. Teaching to us, right, is actually very followable. You know, all the guidance, you know, stated in any manuals, you know, especially for new joiners who coming to join our corporations, right? So they will, you know, have a guidance, you know, but this is very easy because it's straightforward. You know, just pass it and then you follow this. Okay, in order not to make mistakes, all right. So for if you climb highest levels, right? So maybe middle management. So now teaching is no longer because you have all the skills already. So you proceed to mentoring. You know, when you need to solve problems, so you use your superior have to, you know, come in, you know, to mentor you using his own experience as a role model to you. You know, like telling you what are the mistakes sometimes we did. So you don't repeat it because we have did it wrongly. Yeah. So now you follow. Maybe it's a guidance or reference for you. You know, in order for you to solve the problem. So that's what we understand about mentoring. Right. So moving to next is actually coaching. Coaching is, you know, as usual, we don't tell the answer. Okay, it's actually using ask open questions and self-discovery. So you make use right think. You think not only things very surface, but think deeply. You know, maybe you already have the answer, but the coaching sessions, right, you make you realize, you know, self-discovery or self-realizations. Okay, that makes you discover aha. The aha moment is very important. So, I already know this, but I just don't know that that is actually just one of the skills that we want to, you know, apply in our daily routines, right? So that's coaching. For counseling, right, at the moment, right, we understand that counseling is more touching to the personal matters, yeah. And you really need very, very good professionalism to actually to give counseling to people because it involves some personal matters, like your family problems, you know, your relationships problem, your any problems. If the persons that give counseling, right, doesn't professional enough, then it might lead people to even drown people, you know, you know, yeah, it couldn't come out from the problem. That's why this one is the 4 segments that we understand so far.
Awesome.
Right? Thank you.
Next group, go. And you can highlight differences if you have any. Yeah.
I can share.
Alright, awesome.
Okay, I think the key differences for us if we discuss teaching, mentoring, coaching, and counseling. The key differences is teaching don't involve active listening. For the rest of the 3, mentoring, coaching, and counseling, you need a very good active listening skills. Because teaching, they just give instruction. I guide you how it should be done and give direct answer. Okay? So when it comes to mentoring, you need to be an active listener. Okay? You mentor, you give advice based on your experience. So you will give answer. And then you will also quote based on the success story. Okay? Mentor, usually they will give feedback and answer. Okay? Whereas when it comes to coaching, coaching don't give you answer. I think what Andrew mentioned. They will guide you, coach will usually ask a lot of questions and then they will make you think and then self-discovery, self-reflect and then find out the way yourself. It has to come from you yourself, what you want to do with it. Okay? And for counseling, definitely you need to be a very, very, very good listener. And then counseling, they advise.
Okay, because counselor role, they have to listen and then they advise, they give options for you to think how you want to deal with your problems. Okay, thank you.
Wow. Thank you. And who wants to go? Yes, here.
Just one feedback, because we talked about just now teaching, right?
Yes.
And Samantha mentioned that teaching needs to be one way, which I don't quite agree lah. Because sometimes teaching, in order to be effective, then it needs to be two ways. So it can be two way lah, in my opinion. So just going back to where the 4 quadrants are, maybe we will share that we discussed internally and thought that the domains actually differ from each of the techniques. So that's where we focus on. Of course, we also talked about the ideas of intensity as well as the medium. In fact, the mediums can be varied across, and the intensity as well. But I think what we will focus here is more on the domain. So teaching is more on, I think the key word is knowledge. So how do you then impart knowledge, which the teacher itself needs to be of a certain expertise before he or she can then impart all those knowledge to the person. So that person needs to be a subject matter expert to a certain extent. In terms of mentoring, I think it's more of personal experience. How you mentor someone is based on your personal experience. You mentor your mentee. So it could be anything within that scope. About coaching, so coaching it's more broad-based, unlocking potential. So the key word here is unlocking potential. Mentoring is more on personal experience. And then teaching is imparting knowledge. And the last but not least, counseling is more of emotional support. So that's the four domains which we brainstorm about. Yeah.
Awesome.
What about the arrow?
Oh, yeah. Explain.
Creating CGI.
CGI only.
It's really hard to coach. We see this as a bit of a flow in personal development. So you learn the skills, you get mentored to apply the skills, you get coached to progress the skills from zero towards leadership within those skills. And if you need to find a way to negotiate life and applying those skills, we have counseling. So that's the flow.
Wow. Thank you. Alright, and that group.
Okay, I do agree with Leon one. Minority of the teaching is two-way, but majority of the teaching is one-way communication. Meaning to say, I say, you listen. It's just like our boss, okay? Okay, second, mentoring is can consider one way or 1.5 way. Okay, the coach will be one way, then 0.5 is the coachee want to share. So to say mentoring. So mean to say is I say you do. Teaching is different. I say you listen, you don't need to do one. Okay, mentoring, I say you do. Okay. Then partially influencing people. Okay. The third one is coaching. Also 1.5 way communication, but different way. The coach is 0.5. The coaches is one. The one. Okay. So the other way is a trigger. Is you say you do. I ask you question, you say you do. Okay. Coaching. Okay. Then coacher to discover the unleash the potential. Okay. Then the counseling is two-way, sharing more empathy. Meaning to say I feel you. Okay.
Easy to understand, right?
Very good. All of you. So you all pass. Don't have to go to TAs. Alright, very nice. Very, very close to the intended definition. summarize, the first thing that we need to differentiate is between a label and a process. A label is how I call myself. For example, in the sports world, those people who help others improve in their games, they are called coach. In the education industry, they call themselves teacher. In the business world, they call themselves so many names, right? Consultants, mentors, and all this. And then in the psychological world, counselors. Whatever name that we carry, we can actually use the four process to help people. So you can be called a football coach. You're not limited to just using coaching as a process to help your players. You can use teaching, mentoring, and even counseling if you have the skill. You can be called a mentor in your work, you know, and you're mentoring people. But you're not limited to just using mentoring as a process, but you can also use teaching, coaching, and counseling if you have the skill. Yeah. So very important is that don't be constrained by the label that you're carrying, but open up the processes depending on what the person in front of you needs. Yeah, that's very important. Now, before we define this, which you all have defined very well already, I'm going to introduce you this formula. So we say that our role as parents, as leaders, our role is to help people raise their performance, right? And the formula is pretty straightforward. You bring out their potential, and then you help them reduce whatever interfering with them. Now, when you think of performance, what comes to mind? KPI, yeah. Results. What else?
Good.
Huh? Is it what? Singing performance. Yeah. Singing and all those performance. What other thing comes to mind when you think of performance? Rewards. Yeah. Anything else? Yes, very good. So the traditional way of thinking performance is there is a goal, there is a standard, right? If you're meeting the goal or you exceed the goal, you are performing. If you're below the goal or standard of KPI, you are not performing. Alright, so there is a benchmark there. Is there another way of seeing performance other than the goal? What is the target? What's the goal? What's the KPI? What's the standard? And where are you? That's one way of seeing it. Is there another way of seeing performance? Say more about happiness. Yeah. Get back to your program. Growth. Say more about growth.
Yeah. That means you have, okay, from perhaps you from 100%, the 100% is like your asset. Let's say you are currently at that stage, you are at 70%, plus performance is when you have improved from 70 to 80%, is performance, is a growth.
Yes. Very good. Give a big hand. Fantastic. Very good. So the other way of seeing performance is improvement over base. Where did you start and where are you now over time? All right. Even though your target could be much higher, but you have shown development, growth. Right. So that's another way. What is the impact if the leader only views performance from the viewpoint of the target and standard? What is the impact on the people? Why is it stressful?
Because you have really set the limit and may not be able to reach that. So, you will have to keep on helping on achieving the goal that you have really set.
Yes, yes. And the conversations will always evolve around the gap.
Yeah.
Alright, how can you bridge the gap? So it becomes pretty stressful. What happens if the leader sees performance from the other perspective? When were you and where are you now? After improvement, what's the impact on the person? More motivated, alright? Because people feel acknowledged that You recognize that I put in effort to grow, although I'm not there yet, but I have to improve. So very important as leaders, as coaches especially, that you view performance from two angles. All right, what is the goal of KPI, and where are they? And at any one point in time, evaluate, have they made progress, right? And what else they need to make to achieve that. Okay. So that's very important. Now, falling back to this, so raising performance is about bringing up potential. What makes up your potential? Let's list some couple of things. What makes up your potential? There's so many things in your life. The skills that you have, fantastic. The skills, what kind of mindset? Positive mindset goes here, negative mindset goes where? Yeah, it becomes an interference. So positive mindset. What else? Nice. Knowledge that you have. What else?
Attitude.
Say more about attitude.
Attitude as a attitude. How would you be able to respect the situation? Or how do you manage the attitude within your workforce?
Yes, yes. So positive attitude will be here. Negative attitude will be here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Very nice. So positive attitudes are potential.
Perspective.
Hmm?
Perspective.
Say more about perspective.
Being able to view from different perspectives, potential, whereas a single perspective means an interference.
Okay. So in fact, that is one of the most crucial things. Perspective can be both positive and negative, right? Sometimes we view certain things in a disempowering manner, and sometimes. So when it becomes a strength, that means we can see things in a very broad manner. We call qualities like this open perspective or openness. What other human qualities do we have? Example. Result-oriented. What other qualities? Human qualities? Courage, resilience. Alright? So all those qualities, we call them character strengths. And perspectives fall inside character strength. Right? People who have a broad perspective of life, things, character strength. So a lot of words that describe the words that you wrote this morning. All right, those are your qualities. Those are your character strengths. What else? Experience. That's so important. The experience that you gain in your life. Your experience. Okay. What else makes up your potential?
Family background.
Say more about family background.
For example, if let's say you have the richest day in the world, then I think it will affect the decisions or maybe what we're going to do after.
Okay. Yeah, that's true, right? So if we have resources, abundant resources around us, we can achieve different things. Is it possible that two persons, both of them have abundant resources, and yet one of them capitalize and the other don't?
Yeah.
All right. So where is the potential? Is it the potential is the resource or is it the person? The person. All right. So and we say that potential are who we are, the qualities that we have, that we capitalize on things that is available for us. Yeah. Anything else? How many of you consider yourself as extroverts? A bit law. A bit law is ambivert. Introverts, how many of you? Yes, I'm an introvert. Yeah. Ambivert, you are balanced, if you. yourself as a very detailed person. You look at details, you manage details easily. Details, right, great. How many of you are big picture? You hate details. Also, wow, that's rare. Details are big picture. Yes. How many of
First is big picture, then the boss will make you go into detail.
yeah, by training you go to detail.
It's not that we want to, but we need to.
Yes. Those are qualities that you develop on the job. Kind of thing. It's a secondary nature. So what do you call this? What do you call these preferences? You call it introvert, extrovert. What's the difference between personality? Fantastic. What is the difference between the extrovert and introvert?
Outgoing.
Yes. The key difference between introvert and extrovert is where they get the energy from. Alright? Extroverts, they get the energy from people, right? They get so energized when they surround with people. Introverts, they get the energy from themselves, you're right. You're right. Themselves, their me time, themselves, they recharge. Like, for example, introverts like me, I can display extrovert qualities, but after maybe 1 or 2 hours, I need to go for a quiet place to recharge. Alright, that's where we get our energy from. So, personality. What else? Next up, potential.
Ability to take on risks.
Yes, which is part of character strength. Risk appetite. Right? Risk appetite is our personality profile. Anything else? Anything else that takes up your potential? Yeah.
And environment.
What about environment? So environment, is it does it define our personality, or it actually influences? It influences, right? So it doesn't define, so it can influence both positively and negatively. So environment actually, I wouldn't call it potential, but it can be a potentially positive influence. Or negative. Same or opportunity.
Like, if there is a good opportunity given by the superior, then you give out a lot more potential. Some people might have a lot of this, but when there is no opportunity, they can't even unlock their potential.
Yes, yes, true. So potential opportunity means to say that, is it possible that if there is no opportunity, that person can also find ways to actually,
Maybe slower.
yeah, yeah.
But if there's opportunity, people might be able to see the potential earlier.
Yes, yes. So opportunity, environment, family, and all those, they are
External factors.
external factors, you're right. They influence the outcome. Anything else?
Being resourceful.
Yes, resourceful. Resourceful would be character strength. What influence our decision-making process? When you want to decide, should I buy the house, should I rent? Should I do this or should I do that? What affects that? Cost benefit. And the cost benefit analysis is influenced by something deeper. Resources is one of the factors, but it's not something deeper.
Belief.
Belief is the deepest. But what does belief influence? Belief influence something else. Our
Decision
values. Fantastic. So beliefs and values affects our decision making. So what are values? Values are things that we hold as important. That's why we call it value. We value relationship, we value money, we value this, we value that, right? Values. But what is influencing our value system is our belief system. The why we value it. Alright? So two things that actually affects our potential significantly are our value system and our belief systems. Let's put one more. Anything more? Okay, so let's explore this a little bit, yeah? What is the difference between knowledge and experience? Very nice. So we can have knowledge but little to no experience possible, right?
Yeah.
Example?
I read about a place but I haven't been to that place.
Yes, good example. Now, is it possible that I can have experience but little to no knowledge? Example?
Like you play baseball but you haven't studied baseball.
Okay.
You play it often enough to be a pro.
Yes.
But not studied baseball as in how to throw.
Okay.
Kind of things.
Right, very good.
Experience.
Very good. Another example, add on to that.
You're a follower, you don't really much think about it, but you just execute.
Yes.
That's more of like you have experience doing it,
Yes.
but you don't really think deeper on how to do it.
Yes. All right. So experience is really, for example, let's say if I'm a child, all right, and I play around with the switch. For the first time, I notice that if I flick the switch, the light goes on and off. So I have experience related to when I do this, I get that. But I may not have the knowledge on why it happens. All right, there's understanding behind. Now, skills. Can I have knowledge but no skills? Possible? And you're right. Can I have experience but no skill?
Yes.
Example?
Just like the baseball, play baseball, but doesn't play kid, right?
Yes, very good. So skill is the ability to do something well. Alright? And what creates skill? You can play baseball but you may not be skillful in playing baseball. What creates that skill? Practice. Is it possible that I can be practicing consistently but I still not skilled?
Yes.
So what could be missing?
Talent.
And you're right. What does coaching gives you? Huh?
Correct skill.
Coaching gives you one thing that develops skill very fast.
Unlock the potential.
Discover what you do wrongly.
And how do you discover what you do wrong? What's that?
Self-reflection.
Very good, you can. So to build skills, all right, you need a process of self-reflection, all right. But to practice consistently, you need motivation. So what does coaching give you? The motivation and self-reflection, all right. And that's why when we consistently give people knowledge, tell them what to do, teach them how to do it, or we share our experience, it doesn't build skill as fast as when we coach. When we reflect on what we do and we ask ourselves, why is it that it works in this situation but it doesn't work in this situation? We think, you reflect. Then you develop your skill sets. Right? So your first conversation with anyone in the group, actually to help them to become better, right, is to help them to reflect, use the faculty of self-reflection. And one of the things in which coaches do very well in a conversation is to help the person find the motivation, the why. Right? Without the why, we won't be investing time to build the experience. Without self-reflection, the experience will not be turned into skills. Does it make sense? Okay. Interference. First, let's see what interferes with our performance. Give us some example. Yes, maybe perception itself is neutral. What kind of perception is interference? Negative perception, or maybe it's a correct perception of people. Negative perception. Very good. What else? What? I hear
The opposite of very
running so fast. All right, no skill. Okay, let's put that. No. Or lack of skill. Negative mindset. You're so sharp. Negative mindset. Lack of knowledge. And of course, lack of experience. And then, how about character strength? All of us have character strength. In what way it becomes negative?
Disruptive.
In what situations does your strength becomes your weakness? Ego can be. In what situation? For example, empathy. Is empathy a strength? Right? When does it become my weakness? Yes, when I over empathize, people climb on my head, right? Okay, now I need to understand you. Or empathy, if I don't have enough, lack of. Alright, so every strength that we have, every strength that you have, can become a weakness if you overuse or underuse it. Right? So character strength, we say overuse, if I put a plus, underuse of a minus. Character strengths. Alright. Experience, we have put there already. Personality, what about personality? When would it become interference? When you say bad personality, it means what?
Something that you make people feel uneasy, or have the tendency to make people not to like you.
Okay. So personality, for example, let's say I'm an introvert, and you put me in a social environment and I keep quiet. Alright? That will be against me, right? People expect you to be socially act. If I am extrovert, for example, and you put me in an environment where people need time to reflect and so on, and I keep on talking because it also makes me effective, right? Alright. So personality would be basically for example, if my personality is I'm a very detailed person, and then how does the detailedness of my preference becomes a weakness?
You are not the right, you don't have the right personality.
Yes. Sometimes when I'm too detailed, I don't see the big picture. Yeah. If I am a big picture person, I don't see details, also weakness. Alright? So personality, how does personality becomes an interference? We what is the word we use? Rock climbing. Use of preferences in the wrong time. Thank you. Alright. Values. When would it become an interference?
I think very same as the personality. There's there is no definite wrong or right value or belief. It is more on like whether your value fits into that situation rightly or not.
Yes.
So maybe it seems like what you mentioned there, use of the wrong timing lah.
Yeah.
Maybe at a certain situation that required you to have a certain value or mindset to so.
Yes. For example, let's say if one of your value is to be disciplined, all right. So and you follow certain things in a routine manner, very disciplined. In certain situations, that discipline is a strength. But however, in certain situations, it requires flexibility. That value will work against you. Yeah. So very important is that values are things that we hold as important, but sometimes things that we hold as important interferes with the moment that's required. Right? So we call it conflicting values. Right?
But for values and belief, it's a bit hard to justify that, I'm applying it on the wrong timing. It's very much depending on your own personal, I wouldn't choose
Yes.
be it at any timing.
Yes.
That's what that's my outcome.
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
it wouldn't be based on the right situation or the right time. If I'm not willing to do that, that's my value.
Yes. So values that you hold very strongly to, we call them your core values. Right? For example, some people's core values are always telling the truth.
You can't tell them that. You don't
must lie.
You must lie, yeah, right.
But having said that, values are relative. In other words, they are not absolute. Now, for example, let's say if I value preserving life, even an ant, I will try to save drowning, right? So my value is very strong in terms of preserving life. What situations in which I might not want to preserve life? Yes, right. Say if my family members are in danger, all right, and if the robber is threatening to kill, then I will hurt the robber, all right, or preserving my life. So values itself is not absolute. However, certain values are core values. You will hold it stronger than other values. And values are relative. This situation, this becomes more important. Another situation, this one becomes more important. Yeah. Nice. Thank you for bringing that up. And beliefs. Now, beliefs, we say, are life assumptions that we hold as true. Alright, that's why we say, I believe that he doesn't like me. I believe this, I believe that. Those are life assumptions. Now, when would beliefs be an interference?
Overbelief.
Tell me more about the overbelief.
Yeah. Overbelief, I can remain supreme.
Yes. So every single belief that we have in our life is useful in some extent. But if you put in the goal or the objective that you want to achieve, that same belief that's useful may hinder achieving that goal. Make sense? Yeah. So we call beliefs becomes an interference when it is not useful belief. It's limiting beliefs.
Not useful. Belief not useful.
And probably another area is strong emotions. Sometimes strong emotions do hinder our performance. Strong negative emotions. Okay, so let's take a look at these modalities of helping people. When would you use teaching? In what situation might you use this modality to help someone perform?
Knowledge.
Yes, thank you. Lack of knowledge, you teach. When would you use mentoring? Lack of experience. Thank you. When would you use coaching?
Skills.
Skills, alright? Skills, coaching. Is there other modalities that needs to be included to build skills? Coaching, someone? Teaching. Some level of teaching, some level of mentoring. Alright, so mentoring. Any other areas that coaching can be used? Alright, overuse, underuse, character strength. You can coach someone.
Perspective.
Where? Where else?
Perspective. The
Perspective is empowering perspective. Yes. Where else?
Mindset.
Negative mindset. You can get them to be aware of how you're thinking. Yes. Become clearer on that. Where else? Attitude. Yeah.
belief, values, emotion as well.
Yes. For emotions, if the emotions are not that strong, you can use coaching to help. If it is very deep-seated emotions, you might use some counseling too. Very good. Now there is another area that we can apply coaching on. And that's a huge area. Where is it? Anyone gets this, you can leave the room. You pass. Where else? There is one big area where coaching is really the essence of why we use coaching. Where? Say more about that.
When it comes to coaching, some of the coaching is a little bit lost. So we are hoping to get direction or inspiration from the coaching session.
Yes.
So that is where the motivation or inspiration comes this session.
Alright. So in other words, coaches who lack the motivation, you can coach them to find the motivation. Yes. And that's correct. But that's not the answer. Self-improvement is also you can apply in coaching. That's not the answer that I want. The answer that I want, whoever gets it can walk out.
Wasn't listening.
Who knows? The answer is staring at you in your face.
Potential.
Yay! Give a big hand! You pass, you graduate. Yes. Digital. Alright, this is the reason why we use coaching, to help people discover themselves. Right? The things that they have in their life that they can use to grow. Most people use coaching to fix problems, and that's one of the use. But the real use of coaching is really helping people believe in themselves. How many of you have a storeroom in your house? Almost everyone, right? What do you keep in your storeroom? Tools, things, junks, alright? Have you ever walked into your storeroom trying to look for something to help you do certain things? You couldn't find it. You know you have, but you couldn't find it. But you found something else that can do about the same. Yeah? So, and have you ever gone shopping and thought as you shop, oh, I don't have this, I don't have this, and then you bring home and then you see another 3 more tissue boxes waiting. Yeah, I do that very often. Now, we have a huge storeroom in our life. Where is it? Inside.
Mindset.
In our mind. If you have lived for 30, 40, 50 years, you have accumulated so much stuff in your storeroom. And sometimes, when we face a problem, what do? go outside to look for solutions when the solution is all within us. Yeah? So that's your role as a coach. People seldom believe in themselves as much. And it's your role to help them to walk through their storeroom to look for what they have. And how do you help them search their storeroom? By doing what? Asking questions. Alright? Questions that you ask is a torchlight that helps people. Wow. Some torchlights are very powerful. You get aha moments. Some torchlights are not so powerful, but still you get aha moments, as they begin to search. Okay, that's your role. Your role is help them to find what they have within, not to give them a hard time. Even though the easiest way to solve a problem is go out and buy an additional teaching box from someone else. But the value that you add as a coach is more important. Make sense?
But what happened, just a question, what happened, during the coaching session, we found out actually nothing in the storeroom or in
Okay, that's a very interesting remark. How many you have an empty storeroom in the house?
Not nothing, as in there's nothing useful. Oh, I really jumped. Just an example, right?
And you're right. Alright? Sometimes when people don't believe in themselves so much, they tend to say, I don't know. Alright? And what do new coaches do when people say, I don't know? They give answers, they jump into rescue. Alright? How about doing this? Maybe you can do that and so on. So it's our coach belief as a coach that everyone has some answers. Maybe the answer is not as good as what you expect it to be. For example, when I started coaching my children when they're 10 years old, right, when they can start thinking. And will they give me great answers? No. They are limited by their 10 years of experience. But the intent of me coaching them is not for the answers. It's to invite them to believe in themselves that they can make decisions. Alright? Will they make mistakes? Plenty of mistakes. It's my role as a coach to help them learn from those mistakes. Yeah? So yes, sometimes people are not as experienced as you because of your years of experience. They may give you so-called silly answers. But if time allows, alright, allow them to experience it. Sometimes it works, we learn something. I never knew it can go better. Sometimes it doesn't work, we lose time. But the value of them learning is very high.
So that means that even if we know that the answers given by them is not good, we still allow them to go and experience it, hit the wall, and come back and harvest the learning.
It depends on the situation. Alright? So for example, let's say the impact of their mistake is very significant. Right? Maybe to the corporate image or to the project timeline and so on. So at the end of exploring their thoughts and opinions on how to approach it, and we feel that we have additional thought that can be more useful, you can actually share possibilities. Right? Don't share the possibilities in the form of this is the answer for you.
That's a very fine line to it.
It is.
Possibility and different answers.
Yes, yes. That depends on the amount of energy and the words that we use to describe the possibility. So you can say, can I offer you two other possibilities? And why do we offer possibilities towards the end of the conversation, not the beginning? Because we say that every one of us is like a cup full of water. Right? So if I want to come to you and my cup is full of what? Things in my storeroom. Alright? It's full. And then you start giving me ideas to pour in. What happens when you pour in more water? It will overflow. And you know it overflows because I will say that, boss, I think that's a very good idea, but I will butt you. Alright? So, how do you empty their cup? Ask questions and get them unload. Right? So what are your thoughts on this? How would you want to resolve this? And unload, what else, what else, what else? Until I unload everything, until I say that that's all I can think of. When my cup is empty and you offer more water, it will go in. Yeah? So that's why we say as coaches, always work with what they have first before you add anything more. Empty their cup. To influence people, first empty their cup. But there are 2 cups to empty. Where is the second cup?
Your own cup.
Yes. Yes, your cup. Which cup is bigger? Our cup is bigger, right? So if our cup is not empty, what happens?
Overflow of ideas.
Teaching. Yes. Whatever the coachee says doesn't go in. Alright? You're just waiting for your chance to share your thoughts and opinion. So very important is that always empty your cup in any conversation. Be open, be curious, and so on. Right? And then people will love talking to you because they know that you are co-creating the solutions with them. Right? It's not that you have a solution, you're just out of processes because like that, and you keep those. Right? Co-create. People love to co-create. Any questions before we take a short break? 15 minutes break? Give us a big hand. Awesome.